There's people that have to find out how to produce that for them.
I hope Nadine show up. I'm gonna take this all the way up to 6 o'clock. Cause I don't, Nadine may pop in, she may not, but I left a couple of messages. But the show got to go on because everything we do is live.
It's live, but then you tape it and rebroadcast.
Yeah, after it goes out live, we burn it on the DVD, then we replay it.
Yeah.
So I don't do pre-tapes. All my shows go as is.
Yeah.
From right now to here. Boom, right.
What you see is what you get.
What you get.
Oh boy. No retake.
No, you can't. No retake. And then I was going to My name is Rufus Johnson. I'm the founder and CEO of The Real Truth, Inc. I'm back today with a good friend. We'll be covering a lot of issues that's dealing with community and politics. This is the month. Don't forget to go out and vote. If y'all did not go down to Eden Park to see our president, you missed something. It was off the hook. Obama was off the hook. But I'm your host, and I want to get right into my topic because of the time we have. Really, I'm dealing with judgmentship. I had an opportunity in meeting Steve Black, which is running for judge. About 2 years ago, he came. I do the political forums every 2 years for the city, state, and federal officials, and he had an opportunity to come in and was a guest on my show. We also is waiting on Judge Nadine Allen. So we'll be covering judgmentship, you know, what it is to become a judge and why Steve is running for judge and why he needs your votes. And a lot of my friends that's in the political arena, they always come in and pop in and give me support. I would like to welcome Steve back to the program.
Well, thank you, Rufus.
Glad you can get back here. Now, what you been up to, Mr. Black?
Well, I haven't been up to anything extraordinary. I've just been doing my usual stuff. I'm a practicing trial lawyer, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years. In fact, the last 37 years to be
Yeah, I'm
exact.
looking at it. I said you've been practicing law for 37 years in Hamilton County. You was commercial law, real estate, probate, environmental issues.
That's right. That's right. And on top of that, I've been doing a lot of civic service. You know, I've served for 23 years on the board of the Children's Home of Cincinnati, and I was president of that board for 4 of those years. The Children's Home is the largest provider of mental health services to disadvantaged kids in this region.
Okay.
It touches the lives of 6,600 kids a year these days. And it's a great organization, and I'm very proud to have been serving on that.
You still a part of that right now?
I'm an honorary life trustee. They gave me a life sentence, you might say. But after I worked there, I'm now serving as a director of CET, our public broadcasting affiliate here in town. And they produce children's programming like Sesame Street, you know, the healthy stuff for kids to watch. And I think it's important that kids have an alternative to the commercial broadcasting. It's, you know, you need something healthy that you can sit your child in front of and not worry about the language that they're going to pick up or the behaviors that they're going to pick up.
You know, my next guest that's going to come on after you, they deal with funnicated. If I'm saying that right, y'all? Funnicate. I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing the name right, and that's great because it ties into what they do. And they're going to come on and talk about a little bit about their program and what they do and stopping bullying in kids, that type of thing. And, oh, wow, so you were honoree, huh?
Well, yeah, at the Children's Home, after 23 years, they put me out to the pasture a little bit with an honor, and I moved on here to CET, where actually we're filming this show.
Oh, okay. This is right. Matter of fact, you inside CET building right now.
That's what I'm saying.
On the show with me. Oh, okay.
On the show with you.
Okay, okay, then. That's good. What make you now, Steve? I mean, because this is 2 years you was running for judge, and you still at it. You know what I mean? What keeps you?
Well, I see being a judge as a good way to put put a final kind of flourish on a long legal career. You know, I've served the community as a lawyer for 37 years, and another 6 years as judge would be a good way to kind of
put the icing on the cake.
Well, yeah, put the icing on the cake. I might say that, you know, there's some family precedent for this now, Rufus. Are you aware of that?
Okay, no, I wasn't.
Well, my dad was Robert Black, and in 1972, after being a private lawyer for over 20 years, Robert Black was elected to the Court of Common Pleas. That's the same court I'm running for.
Wow, see, it's good to have friends that's lawyers and judges. You know, I got all of them in my pocket.
Now, I don't know about that.
Okay, so your father was, he made the way, he started the way.
Yeah.
And then you picked it up.
Well, actually, there was, in between, my cousin Tim Black ran for judge. Now, Tim was elected to the Hamilton County Municipal Court in, I think it was 1991. And then he was reelected 6 years later. And then he ran twice for the Ohio Supreme Court, which is a statewide race, and that's a big race. But he ran in years when Democrats were not favored on the ballot. They were Republican years, year 2000 and year 2002, I think it was. So he didn't make it to the Ohio Supreme Court. He then went into the federal judiciary, became a federal magistrate judge, and then just 2 years ago, President Obama appointed him to the federal district court bench here. He got the first appointment as a federal judge in this area. So he's done a commendable, he's had a wonderful career and is in a
so
very
then you picked, so
position.
now you involved, so you picked up, when you get it, when did your career, when did you start?
Well, I started practicing, well, actually, I graduated from law school in 1974.
Okay.
And then I served for 1 year as a law clerk to a federal judge on the Court of Appeals here in town. Now that's like serving an apprenticeship to a judge. But you can't move on and be a judge without practicing law first. So I went to work practicing law, and 37 years later, I'm ready to now run for judge.
I mean, you done paid your dues. You done put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I've paid my dues.
You know, you put in a lot of work.
Can't argue with that.
So why do you need the people to vote for you now? I mean, why is it so important that you're running for this term on this election now?
Well, it's important for this reason. Many of our judges have a career track where they go to law school and then they're hired by the prosecutor's office. And they work in the prosecutor's office for a period of years, and after 6 years they're eligible to run for judge, and they become maybe a municipal court judge first, and then Court of Common Pleas, and then Court of Appeals. And the trouble is, when you get a lot of those judges, you get an imbalance in the system of judges who are formerly prosecutors. I think it's important to have judges who are not simply former prosecutors, judges who've had different world experiences that are broader than our prosecutor's office. Now, I'm not saying that there are not some fine judges amongst those people, and there are fine judges amongst those people. What I'm saying is we need balance, and we need people with world experience that includes children's services, child welfare. It shouldn't all be criminal law. We got to incorporate what goes on in our community and social services as well. And I have much more of a social service background than your average candidate, and I'd like to put that to work on the bench.
Now, you and Nadine then teamed up. I know I had a chance to work closely with Fanon Rocket, you know, good friend of mine. I got a chance to work with Tracy Hunter, a good friend of mine. And matter of fact, I worked on Tracy Hunter's campaign when she was running for her judgmentship. So, you know, I mean, and they all have interest in youth and children's. And
they do,
and
particularly Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy, and wow, and then now you bring in social services. And do you think we need to have more? Well, you know what? I'm going back to Fanon Rucker now. I think he was a prosecutor.
I believe he was
before
a city,
he went.
Yeah, he was a city prosecutor.
Right.
And like I say, there are a lot of fine judges and candidates who have been prosecutors, but you don't want it all to be that way.
Right, right.
You know,
and I asked him
you got to
that
have some balance in the system.
I asked him that question. I asked him a question when I said, well, was his job hard prosecuting? To be a prosecutor, when he was at that time, he told me, he said, well, Rufus, when I was a prosecutor at that time, I wanted to be different than prosecutors, but because you know, when you go to court now, you know, prosecutors' jobs is to prosecute.
That's right.
You know, period.
Well, actually, it's tempered. They also have to do the right thing. There is a qualification that their job is to prosecute, but to ultimately achieve a just result. So if they know somebody, if there's some evidence that somebody's not guilty, they have to turn that over to the defense. They don't have to stop the prosecution, but if there's some what we call exculpatory evidence, they have to turn that over to the other side. It's a little more complicated than just throwing the book at somebody.
Okay, then I need to sit down with you then, because all you know me, just to keep up on what's going on. Okay, what are some of the things you did, like, you know, community service work, you know, as far as the...
Well, I've had a lot of exposure there. In addition to the children's home, I was on the city council of Indian Hill Village, where I live and where I grew up, and I became mayor. I've been mayor, and you know what you do when you're mayor?
I know you're going to tell me what you do, Steve.
Well, you run mayor's court. You do two things that are interesting. You run mayor's court, which is always entertaining.
Okay, so you was mayor for what, Indian Hills?
Indian Hill City.
Oh, okay.
And you run mayor's court, and mostly it's traffic offenses, but you end up being the person who keeps everyone's dog in their yard and keeps the deer out of the yard, because those are the two problems that.
So them the problems you was catching